Oh man, movie of the year! I can't wait.
I'm really not feeling these costumes, dude. I'll be honest.
What are you talking about?
I just feel like we look a little silly.
What do you mean?
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the world's finest podcast, the only podcast with the most reptilian-looking and monkey-looking hosts you can find.
I'm your host, Jason Sutcliffe.
And I'm Seamus Landy.
And today,
we have a very special episode.
Exactly. We, as you might be able to tell, we just got back from the movie of the year.
Godzilla x Kong, The New Empire.
Well, I thought we watched the Garfield movie.
It's not out yet, dude.
I went to the wrong movie.
Alright, so, yeah. I'm just gonna fucking... We ordered these ones without really looking at them, so...
Yeah, it's getting very sweaty in here already.
Already, dude? I'm still fine.
Well, I mean, it's very quickly gonna get a little too hot in here.
Yeah. We have the worst smelling hosts of any podcast you've been listening to.
Hey, speak for yourself. I smell like a cool breeze on a winter day.
Whatever you say, sweat boy.
All right.
Like and subscribe and share this video if you want a whole episode of me smelling Jason's nasty armpits.
Some people would want that. But yeah, so we watched Godzilla x Kong: The New Empire. Seamus's most anticipated movie of the year. Definitely would say. And before we get into our discussion of this, also on the while we're still early on, spoiler warning for Godzilla x Kong: The New Empire. We could probably give like a spoiler-free talk at the beginning.
I mean, to be fair, this is coming out when this releases. At least this is going to come out like a week or 2 weeks actually after the movie came out. So
yeah, because we watched it a week later.
We were busy, fellas.
Something like that. We were busy putting out the first episode of the world's finest podcast.
We did do that, yeah, and had a final the next day.
Oh yeah, how'd you do on that?
Well, not a final, but a exam.
Well, first we thought a good way to start this off is talking about how we got here. All right, because
what Godzilla means to us.
Exactly. Well, it means a lot to you.
But, you like Godzilla?
I like Godzilla. Yeah, this was mine from when I was a wee lad. But we got a whole movie series leading up to this. That some people kind of don't know that the 2014 movie's connected. I've seen that somewhere.
Really? Actually?
Huh? It's been people like, wait a minute, that's part of it because it doesn't really fit in.
But it's a very similar design. Like,
oh yeah, but
I think.
But on that note, start with Godzilla 2014.
Godzilla 2014, which actually, as said, I'm a lifelong Godzilla fan, and it mostly started because of this movie.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, I remember because like I watched Godzilla as much as like the average kid did back in the day when I was like younger. You know, there'd be a movie on TV, and I thought he was cool. Everyone thinks Godzilla's cool because he is.
Yeah, he's very rad.
But I remember my dad took me to see it, and I was just like, "This is the greatest movie of all time. I love Godzilla. He's cool."
That's but every movie when you're a kid.
I mean, yeah, but like this one specifically.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. Whenever I walked out of a movie when I was little, I used to be like, "This is the greatest thing I've ever seen."
Yeah, exactly.
But Godzilla 2014, actually a pretty good movie.
It is, I'd say. To be fair, that's still when I first like started like having a bit more movie literacy. Because I remember I saw Amazing Spider-Man 2, and I thought even as a 9-year-old that shit sucks.
Yeah, that's true.
but yeah, Godzilla, very good film. So yeah, let's talk about it.
Yeah, it's definitely like I'd say like by comparison now the black sheep of the franchise.
No,
because
exactly.
It takes itself very seriously.
I'd say so, yeah, definitely. And like a common thing people say online is like every movie gets less realistic with every installment, and I'd say definitely
that is the epitome of the MonsterVerse. Oh, no, my hood.
Yeah, it's that movie which is turning 10 years old pretty soon.
Dang.
So
it's been the sands of time are passing.
It really has been. I will say the 10-year saga of at least the 10 years of the MonsterVerse is looking better than the 10 years of the DCEU.
Yeah,
That's what they were a decade in.
Yeah, any other forced cinematic universe.
I think the common consensus is the MonsterVerse is like the second best, like, or at least most consistent cinematic universe besides like the MCU. And I think that's generally able.
I
You know,
guess, but unlike Seamus's corners of the internet, people don't really talk about the MonsterVerse like that,
well, it's
really.
more like beloved, I'd say, than like the
Yeah,
DC universe.
we'll say that.
Like, you're acting like I'm talking about like Kamen Rider. These are popular films.
Oh yeah, they're popular, but people aren't as I don't know. Anyway, but Godzilla 2014, a very solid movie.
Yeah, we can finally talk about it.
Yeah,
I'd say it definitely is. I want to say at least my second favorite of the human characters.
yeah.
I think they're like nah, like not great, but I feel like they worked better for the story.
Bryan Cranston.
I
I
don't.
always forget Bryan Cranston's
Yeah,
in that
I mean they
movie.
killed him off halfway through,
Yeah.
despite being set up as a main character, which I've never been a fan of. But
Mm.
um, I think the monster action is probably. I think it does the best with like the atmosphere because people say all the time, oh, there's very little Godzilla in it, but like I think it works for it definitely. Because
Yeah.
like when Godzilla shows up, you're like, oh shit's gonna go fucking go down, you know?
And it's if you want more monster fighting in it, just wait for the next like every movie.
Basically, yeah.
No, yeah, but it's I think as like an American like blockbuster like kind of take on Godzilla, I think it works really well.
Definitely one of the best ways like it could be done, especially with just Godzilla and like
Yeah.
without any other like big monsters. But we'll get to those in the next film.
Well,
What?
next film is Kong,
No, yeah, I know
Skull
that.
Island.
But the next film in the Godzilla solo film series, dumbass. Anyways, yeah, Godzilla all around, very good film. I'd give it I'd say like a 7.
I would give the first Godzilla. I think like 6.5.
All right,
I think in some parts it can get a little.
it's a little dull in some
Yeah.
areas, a little boring. And I think people said before this movie is too dark, not in terms of like the story, but in terms of like physically, like
Yeah,
it takes
visually.
place at night in a dark city. Godzilla's completely like just gray and black. The Mutos are just gray and black.
Yeah.
It's a very dull film,
Yeah.
like visually at least.
Yeah.
Although like stuff like the kiss of death, like and like the first atomic breath, I think that was worth the fucking press mission alone. Those were some of the best scenes of like. I remember when I was a kid, I was just sitting there, just like
Oh my god, this is cinema.
basically, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember when I first watched Godzilla 2014.
Was it in theaters?
Maybe. I don't even remember. I watched it at some point. No, yeah, but 7 to a 6.5 for me.
Yeah. Love me some Godzilla,
All right.
and that's around the time I first got this guy, or at least like a few
Oh,
years after that.
look at that little guy. And then this guy. Yeah, if we have internet users around here, you might be a little familiar. Want to throw him off the Empire State Building or something?
I'm down.
We were talking about it. If this hit a child, it'd probably like crack open their skull or something.
At least if you drop from like far enough. You know what we should do? We should go up on your roof, and if anybody like pops by, just like
Yeah, just hurl it down.
yeah, like
Or-
Kong.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of Kong,
Kong Skull Island,
yes.
2017, directed by not Ryan Johnson, so the guy who's in production of the Metal Gear Solid movie for the past like decade.
Oh yeah,
Who's that
I
motherfucker?
don't know his name. He's got long hair. Put a picture of him up on screen and probably put his name too.
Good filmmaker, and this is a good film.
Yeah,
I very much like Kong Skull Island, definitely.
it is actually very good, very solid action movie. Thoroughly enjoyable the whole way through.
I'd say probably the most engaging like human story. Because I mean, John C. Riley, John Goodman, Samuel L. Jackson, Brie Larson, Tom Hiddleston, stellar
all-star
cast.
cast. Yeah.
And I know, given these movies, that doesn't mean much, but
Uh,
I'd say they're used at least like decently effectively. I did enjoy John C. Riley's character
yeah.
and Samuel L. Jackson. I should mention, I rewatched some of these like over the past like few weeks in preparation.
In preparation for the greatest movie of all time.
You know
No
it,
spoilers. Um.
or is it?
Oh, but no, yeah, it's like I said, I've always liked it as just like a very solid action movie.
Mm.
You get plenty of Kong in the movie,
Yeah, exactly.
plenty
That's not a
of
problem.
giant monsters beating each other up.
It makes Skull Island feel like a very like it feels like not real, but like feels like a lived-in world.
Yeah, yeah, and
It's believable. Not as good as the '05 film, I'd say, for Skull Island, but very good Skull Island all around.
no, yeah, and like you said, the human plot was very engaging.
Yeah,
It's like I would say personally, it's my favorite human plot, just
and I
because
agree.
like I care about them. I'm not gonna say as much as Kong because it's funny seeing him
Yeah,
giant monkey.
it's going around like,
But but I'm not like, oh, get back to the fucking monsters like I am with some of the other movies.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, all around, I'd give Kong Skull Island I'm also gonna say 7 out of 10.
7 out of 10. I would give Kong Skull Island an 8 out of 10. One
For
upping
real?
you. Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed Kong Skull Island. It's a solid movie.
Very good film. I should mention in general, I don't think there's any bad movies in this slate in
Yeah.
general. Then we get to a take that I've had for a while that a lot of people don't agree with for some reason, but what I think is my personal favorite MonsterVerse movie, Godzilla King of the Monsters,
Godzilla King of the Monsters?
2019. And this is at this point when it released, we were friends, and you know I was really hyped for this movie.
Yeah, he wouldn't shut up about it.
It was a big deal for me, all right?
Yeah, he was running down the middle school halls going. Endgame was coming out around the same time. If anyone mentioned it, he'd punch him in the face.
They were like a month apart.
Oh yeah, exactly. Big blockbusters coming out in 2019.
I think I said it before. Not sure if it was on this podcast or not, but 2019, great fucking year for movies. Now that I think about
Yeah.
it. But yeah, King of the Monsters. It was a great. I was so hyped for this. I remember when the trailer came out, and I still stand to this day. Godzilla King of the Monsters, the trailer, one of the best trailers of recent memory.
I can second that opinion. The trailer was really good. The fucking the music, the whoo.
Exactly. And here's the thing. I was hyped for this ever since Kong Skull Island, because that's when I found out the MonsterVerse was a thing. I thought that it was like separate from Godzilla, and I was like, wouldn't it be cool if they connected? And I found that they were going to, and I was just
Yeah.
like,
Well, that was the post-credit scene of Kong. They had a Godzilla show up, right?
I didn't stay for that one actually.
Oh, you didn't?
I didn't start staying.
Wait,
For,
so you didn't? You were like, oh man, it'd be cool if they connected. When at the end of Kong they connected.
I didn't. As I said, I didn't see the post credits. I didn't know about like that whole thing then. I didn't give a shit about the Marvel movies until like Homecoming. Really?
Oh, I cared about them the whole way through, since
Yeah, you.
Iron Man 3. I think that was no. Well, I watched the first Avengers in theaters.
Yeah,
I was a little.
Iron Man 3 is a bit of a weird.
Yeah, I
Start.
was gonna say I was a little. I obviously I remember going to see the first Avengers. Also, anyone who's like, wait a minute, how old were you when you saw the Avengers? Yeah, you're old.
Yeah.
The sands of time are passing, my friend.
No.
But the first like Marvel movie I really like remember like actively going to was Iron Man 3.
No.
We're not talking about Iron Man 3 or the
We're
MCU.
talking about Godzilla King of the Monsters. So with all this prep work, you might remember this. I took a day out of school because I didn't want to like have any spoilers.
No one was gonna fucking spoil Godzilla King of the Monsters.
You never know.
Nobody was coming to me like, did you see what happened at the end? No, and like I said, at the same time as Endgame, that makes sense. Endgame spoilers make sense. Nobody's spoiling Godzilla King of the Monsters for you, bro.
I don't know. I thought like maybe something happened. I don't know. I should mention also, in general, there's nothing to spoil with a lot of these movies because every fucking movie teases like the biggest thing in the trailers. Burning Godzilla was in the trailer for King of the Monsters. It was actually leaked in a toy like a while back, but then they just put him in a
That's
trailer.
fucking every movie.
No, but like Mecha Godzilla was in the trailer for Godzilla vs Kong.
Oh, we're not talking about Godzilla versus Kong yet.
I found out recently Mothra was in the trailer for Godzilla X Kong. Oh yeah, spoiler I guess, but as I said, it's in the trailer.
We already gave the spoiler warning at the start.
Yeah. Anyways, Godzilla King of the Monsters.
Yes.
My bad. I am a person. I fucking love this film definitely. Like I think visually, it's one of my. I think it is my favorite visually like MonsterVerse films because especially like it was emphasized in the trailer. This has a lot of very good shots. You know, like with
Yeah.
Mothra like spraying her wings for the first time, or Ghidorah when he's in the clouds and just like with his wings and there's a lightning. Like that shit goes hard. Or Godzilla
Yeah.
breathing like the sonic breath into like the sky. That shit was like mesmerizing. Like in the theater as a fucking like 14-year-old, I was just like.
But just about creamed your shorts.
I might as well have.
No, yeah, that is one thing. Definitely compared to, because I feel like that's one thing that's kind of, at least with the three movies coming before. As we said, Godzilla 2014 looks kind of muddy. Looks kind of bland, dookie at times.
Console Island, good film visually, but like doesn't like.
Yeah, it doesn't wow.
Yeah,
It doesn't have
I'd say
that
it's
wow.
distinct, definitely.
Yeah.
but like it's not like wowing. But this one, every fucking frame of this movie could be a poster on my wall. It is,
And
like,
they are.
yeah, they are, yeah. But like the scene too where Godzilla and Ghidorah are like running at each other and like doing all this stuff, and like when Rodan comes out of the volcano, he's like, or like when all the monsters are like coming out of the when Ghidorah calls, or when Ghidorah like when he's like on top of the volcano and goes, and like there's like the cross in front of him.
As you can see, Seamus is very passionate about these
I love
movies.
King of the Monsters.
No, yeah, but it was. Well, we talked about the visuals of the movie. How is it as an actual movie?
Okay. No, I'm just kidding. I think it's pretty good. People say the monster, like the human plot in this one, is the weakest. I'd say it's definitely stronger than Godzilla versus Kong, but
I on that I do think as a whole the human plot is the weakest in this movie. Personally, I'm just not very invested in Millie Bobby Brown.
yeah,
And when we talk about Godzilla versus Kong,
that'll be much more
we'll
apparent.
double down on that.
I will say though, I like the antagonist, like Charles Dance's character, when he was running like the other opposite, like the
Yeah.
evil guys. I think for like a human antagonist in a Godzilla film, he was actually pretty decent. Not for some reason he never came back, but
No, yeah, did he die at the end?
did he? I don't know actually.
I've not seen it since it came
I
out.
don't think
So,
so.
no, yeah, but it's a very this one above any of the others because Godzilla 2014. It's
Yeah,
kind of like the main thing that you're watching is what if Godzilla was real, that kind of stuff. Kong, like I said, it's got a lot of Kong, but it's also got a compelling human plot. It's about touches on the Vietnam War,
yeah.
colonialism. This movie is the first one where it's just you want to see giant monsters fuck each
And
other
you will
up.
get it.
Yeah, exactly. That's the main draw of this movie, and it delivers
Yeah,
tenfold.
exactly. And if we're talking about antagonists, I think Ghidorah, like in general, I think he's also like even he's like I'd say a compelling antagonist.
Yeah,
He pit and like the personalities of the monsters like in this movie is like really well done. I think because like
yeah.
Ghidorah, he seems like he wants to fuck shit up. He seems like just he wants to fucking ruin everybody's
He's
day. He's
evil.
evil, Ghidorah.
No, yeah, but yeah, very. And also, like it comes back to the visual design. He looked
Mm.
really cool. Every time he showed up on screen, it was cool. Um, Overall, I mean, coming from a minor Godzilla fan to a major Godzilla fan, I think it was a good kind of like translation of the character. Do you agree?
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
very good all around, I'd say.
Yeah.
Um,
Grade for it?
I would give it a 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10. What other movies have you rated a 9 out of 10 so we can gauge where this is?
Let me pull up my Letterboxd 1 sec.
Yeah, if you ever want to follow us on Letterboxd, see what your favorite podcast hosts are doing.
We'll put them in the description, probably.
Yeah, put them up on screen right now. Check our handles out.
Yep.
Also, if you want to follow us on anything, oh whoa, my Instagram.
I'm not putting my Instagram on this.
Seamus's Instagram. Seamus's address again.
I'll put my Instagram out for these people.
I'm putting my Instagram out for these people.
All right. So I also related to give 9 out of 10 to The Batman, Across the Spider-Verse, the first Star Wars trilogy, all three of them, Back to the Future, Howl's Moving Castle, Scream, Dunkirk, The Incredibles, The Big Lebowski, Mother, Mulan, Clerks, Superman.
Anyway, all these movies on the same level as Godzilla King of the Monsters.
If we're being generous to them, yes.
I wouldn't go as far to say. I would say my rating. I don't know what I actually rated it on Letterboxd, if it's even on there.
I'll pull it up.
But I'd probably give it around. I think an 8. An 8's solid because it was a fun, solid movie, enjoyable. Like I said, every time the human character was on screen, I was like, oh, "Where's Godzilla?
Hmm.
I want to see the funny lizard." But overall, it was solid. You know what I mean? It was a
Yeah.
fun venture. You know what I mean?
Yes.
We're back. Godzilla started destroying the city.
We had to intervene.
Yeah,
personally.
exactly. We had to step in. If you saw in the news, don't worry, it's handled.
Yeah.
But now that we've concluded with, are you checking your your hair, making sure you look all nice and spiffy?
Yeah. You gotta be for the podcast, man.
Well, then put your hood back on. We got to stay in character.
You can never be too careful.
All right. While Seamus grooms himself, I'll do the segue into the next part. So we've seen Kong face off with the skull crawlers. We saw Godzilla go toe to toe with Ghidorah.
Awesome.
What's the next natural evolution?
They come together.
in Godzilla versus Kong.
Which also, minor note, we both said it before. It's really funny that they, at the opening credits, they showed like Godzilla taking on Ghidorah and like the Mutos and like a bunch of the other monsters, who I guess just kind of died because it implies that he just kind of killed a lot of the other
He killed
Titans.
them all.
Yeah, and it's just Kong fought like the skull crawlers and like a buffalo or something.
What more do you need? No, yeah, but Godzilla versus Kong, the events of the century, and also I think the first MonsterVerse movie we saw together because we didn't watch
Yeah.
King of the Monsters together.
Oh, we did not. I remember I asked him to because he said he was going to see with his dad, and I think I misheard him and thought he was going to say with his friend. So I was just like, "Oh, can I come?" And you were like, "Oh, no." And at the time, I was like, "Why are you so like adamant about that?" But then I was like, "Oh yeah,
You should have queued with it with me and my dad.
would have been a good time."
It probably would have been. Dad, if you're watching this, would you have wanted Seamus to come with us?
Leave a comment below.
He probably would say. Right now, I'm guessing he's saying no. But, yeah, Godzilla versus Kong.
Here's the thing. I've heard a lot of discourse on whether this movie is good or not from various fans of the Monsterverse,
Mm.
and I think the thing is, a lot of people expected a lot from this film.
Well, yeah. I mean, all I expected was Godzilla and Kong to fight.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Honestly, I was a little disappointed with the final product. Because here's the thing. All right, settle down. I feel like this movie just like if because like I know like the director said like oh this is the definitive version, but like the movie just kind of feels off in a way I can't really describe. You know,
Yeah.
does that make sense?
I
Like it feels like
guess.
it feels like there was more like somewhere along the line somebody like edited it down or something.
Yeah. I I I personally don't get that. I think it was just it's a summer blockbuster. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I think
I don't know. It just felt like it just felt like it didn't really have the sauce for the most part. You know, I'd say this is my least favorite of the human plots.
yeah. Well, on that, I'm because carrying on from the point from King of the Monsters, I was okay with the Alexander Skarsgård uh Kong plot, which did take up most of the movie.
Yeah,
I cannot stand Millie Bobby Brown and Godzilla X Kong. Every time it cut to him, to her and Julian Dennison.
and fucking Brian Tyree Henry.
I
It's just
love Brian Tyree Henry.
good actor.
Great. It's always funny because he's become a lot more like in bigger projects lately, but like the main thing I know him from is Atlanta.
Mm.
So it's always just like funny he's being like, "Hey, it's Paperboy," and then it's like he's playing like, "Oh, well, actually, nerd
Yeah.
character."
Or the one of the Arkham guards at Joker.
Yeah, and
It
Joker,
was
or
that was an odd role for him to take. Now that I think about it.
yeah, it was very random. But I think that was still kind of earlier, like before he got like really big.
Yeah,
And now and also playing Fastos in Eternals. Was he Fastos? I think so. But anyway, I'm not gonna rewatch Eternals to check.
yeah. And I don't think Marvel will either.
No, they're never coming back.
But yeah, I mean, in this movie, I think he was fine. But like, yeah, it's just like because like at least with the Skarsgård plot with like Kong and stuff, like that felt like it fit into the story. They carried most of the plot. When he just and it just cuts to like fucking Millie Bobby Brown and they're just fucking around doing really nothing.
No, that's don't you in any movie about giant monsters fighting, don't you want Millie Bobby Brown running around going, "We have to help them," and then
Yeah,
breaking into government facilities that they really shouldn't be able to?
yeah, exactly.
Suspension of disbelief is something that you need in these movies,
It's
but
Godzilla versus Kong.
yeah,
But yeah, that's the biggest thing. And I know like a big thing people would say is like, oh, she was there to help set up like or explain the bad guy's story. Then show us the bad guy's story. The
Hmm.
guy who made Mechagodzilla, that was Serizawa's son, like Ken Watanabe's character.
Oh
Did you,
yeah,
did you even know he was?
I did not know that.
I think they might have said it once, but we don't know why he hates Godzilla. I mean, assume because his dad died because of him, but you know, we don't know anything about like how he feels about any of the other Titans or his stake in the conflict or how he got to like do the Mechagodzilla thing. He just was there, and it's like this is his character. That's it.
Yeah, I feel like delving into that because I had no idea
And
that was
and
part of it.
that's what
That could have been a little more interesting.
and that's what I meant when I said this movie feels a little off. I was just like, it feels like there should be more to this. Not even in terms of like I think that he just should have been more because I like his character. I mean, just like, and it was just general storytelling. I feel like they probably should have
Yeah,
put him in more.
maybe. Um, Yeah, and then that would serve as the Godzilla plot for the movie.
Yeah, exactly.
In a movie that is very Kong heavy. We'll say
Yeah, that's
that.
the thing. Because that's the thing. Like, I understand it's like Godzilla won the fight, Kong won the movie. I get that. But the only two solo Godzilla scenes are the opening like intro, like when he like burns down the facility, and the one scene where like somebody calls him with like a machine and then he just turns around while swimming in the ocean.
What more do you want?
But that's the thing too. Like in King of the Monsters, I set up Godzilla being a villain when saying like he's a protector for now. But then like other than destroying like one building, he isn't really much of like a destroyer, you know?
Yeah.
And like I get they don't want him to be like the straight up villain, but like maybe a bit more of a villainous role could have worked for this.
Yeah, maybe. I think it's just a matter of it fleshing out a better Godzilla plot probably would just kind of help
Make it
fill
better all
out the
around.
movie a little more.
Yeah.
Now, how do you feel about the outcome of the fights?
Um, Here's the thing, and this is coming from a guy who was Team Godzilla since day one. It just wasn't fair to Kong, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Because here's how it works. First, they had the fight on the boat, and then they had the fight in Hong Kong, which apparently, according to them, was a 2-round fight. Because here's the thing, there was like the part where like Godzilla like starts stepping backwards and Kong like flies back, and I think it was Brian Tyree Henry who was like, "Oh, now that round goes to Kong." It's like they had to say it to emphasize like it was
Yeah, well, because the whole movie is just Kong getting his ass kicked.
really it was, and
It's
so
just getting jumped, just left and right.
yeah, exactly. And they really try to make it like, oh, it's the tiebreaker of this 3-round fight. But no, just Godzilla kicked his ass twice.
Yeah.
And even in that, like I said, Kong went flying back into buildings and Godzilla was just like, So it's like, did he even win that fight?
Yeah, but at the end, I think to balance it out with like Kong being in almost the entire movie and then a few Godzilla scenes, Godzilla spoiler alert, Godzilla comes out as the victor of the conflict. Were you happy with the outcome?
I'd say I was.
Yeah.
And I'd say it also was fair because then Mechagodzilla comes into frame and destroys the absolute fuck out of Godzilla. Here's the thing, I wouldn't say it's the best fight in the MonsterVerse, but it is probably far the most disrespectful fight.
Yeah.
Because he was fucking like, Shom!
Yeah,
like,
I said
throwing through buildings.
he was running his head through fucking
Basically, yeah.
neighborhoods.
I half expected him to just go like fucking what after like
Yeah, but then Kong is able to defeat Mechagodzilla because that never made sense to me.
because like humans helped him
Is
out.
it? Well, yeah, well, I guess, but Godzilla beats Kong, Mechagodzilla beats Godzilla, Kong beats Mechagodzilla.
This motherfucker never heard of rock paper scissors.
Well, no, but that's not a rock paper scissors type situation. I've heard people say, "Oh, well, Mechagodzilla was designed to fight Godzilla." It sounds like a cop out to me. I don't know. It just
Yeah. But speaking of things that should have been more developed, did you know that Mechagodzilla is actually Ghidorah's consciousness?
I do. Well, I remember that. That was a plot point.
I mean, yeah, but
Remember, it went rogue, and that's why all the humans were like, "Oh no!"
but yeah, it just kind of feels weird that like, oh, this is Ghidorah's grand return to the MonsterVerse technically.
Yeah, I guess. But I feel like we've talked too much on Godzilla versus Kong, because we need to get into the main meat and potatoes of this.
We got to rate the movie.
Well, yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Let's give our ratings of Godzilla versus Kong.
I will give it a 7 out of
A
10.
7 out of 10. 7 sounds about right for this movie. Very entertaining. All right, when the scenes when Godzilla and Kong are fighting, very, it's
Yeah.
exactly what you signed up for. That's the thing with these movies. They're not trying to be anything other than giant monsters fighting.
Yeah, exactly.
But now, ladies and gentlemen,
Let's get to the real shit.
we get on to the most recent installment in the MonsterVerse and the reason why. Why would you get up in that part?
What do you mean?
Because I cut these parts out.
No, keep that part
Now
in.
I gotta restart.
I'll keep that part in.
Why? You checking the camera?
Yeah, why not? Keep it in, bro. Just keep going. I mean,
Nobody wants to see that.
What do you mean nobody wants to?
Nobody wants to see you while I'm leading into the next movie.
It was a funny moment.
It's the main point.
All right.
So, ladies and gentlemen, sorry once again. Kong started destroying the city this time. Once again, had to get involved, unfortunately. But we get into the main event. Godzilla x Kong, the new empire. All right, so this is our full thoughts on the movie.
Full thoughts. All right, so first off, I want to say this movie is by far the best comedy I've seen in the past 3 years.
It is. It is. I think there were multiple points during the movie where we were both audibly like laughing out loud.
Not at the jokes exactly, but like yeah, just how about this is I guess full on spoilers out front, but like I'm gonna give a list of all the funny things that that
Yeah,
made me laugh in the movie. All right. Kong fights a bunch of other Kongs like around his size and picks up a baby Kong, uses him as a nunchuck to just like beat up
yeah,
the other ones.
throw and hurl
Yeah.
around.
Then when one monkey's trying to run away, Kong picks up a boulder and throws and hits him on the head. Which I should mention, that implies that he was able to perfectly time when to throw it, and then it was able to knock him out. Which also made a fucking bonk sound
Yeah, it
effect,
made an audible
like a
bonk.
bonk.
Uh,
Kong also set traps, which I find funny because like I get he's smart, but just the idea that he just set like Wile E. Coyote fucking like things to like slam into the wall, it's just like
yeah,
in a fucking line. Which monkeys also go, oh, don't step on it.
this once again is definitely a Kong movie as
Yeah.
well. They definitely show a favoritism towards it. He's the Batman of this universe.
Yeah.
Kong wins with prep time.
A monkey starts screaming in Kong's face, and then Kong just goes. And this one, there's an audible like cartoon stock sound effect punch, like a.
Yeah, like literally. Then it's like I think it's a homage to the Indiana Jones, like where he's got the sword and then he just pulls out a gun because it's just like that kind of.
Yeah.
And then it's also a point. Oh, Kong's so badass, isn't he?
Godzilla curls up and takes a nap in the Rome Coliseum.
I heard after the fact the kind of mannerisms and movements of Godzilla in this were based off the director's cat, so that's why he did that.
Huh. I can
Yeah,
see
fun
that.
fact.
Let's see what else. Godzilla goes to attack Kong, and he goes.
Yeah, it's for those who have seen the movie, or haven't, there's a scene where Kong's got to get Godzilla to go into the Hollow Earth, and he's trying to goad Godzilla in, but then when Godzilla goes into attack him, he goes, "Ah!"
And then Godzilla chokeslams Kong,
Oh yeah,
like
it's
fucking like suplexes him basically. And then to get Godzilla in, Kong drags him by the tail, like a fucking
yeah. Overall,
very funny movie.
very funny movie. This is probably the most entertaining movie I've seen
Definitely,
of
and
the
definitely the
year.
least realistic.
Oh yeah, so going from Godzilla 2014, which is, as we said, basically
If what if Godzilla was real?
yeah, to the Scar Kings trying to take over
Yeah,
the surface realm, and
yeah.
Godzilla and Kong gotta team up to teach him a lesson.
Which I'd say Scar King's definitely also one of my favorite MonsterVerse villains.
He's just so
He's just a
evil.
fun guy.
He's
He's just a
so
comically evil
comically
guy.
evil.
Although I wish he was taller than Kong, because like again he's like really agile and stuff. When he showed up, it was just like at least this is the height difference between Scar King and Kong, and then like he's also like way more nimble. It's just like how could he like pose the threat to like almost
Because he
anything?
knows martial arts. He was basically doing fucking kung fu in
I'm
the
saying
movie.
like, he was yeah, but if he was just like taller, I think it'd be a bit more like imposing. I also didn't know the shot of him like fully in shadows with like red eyes, like sitting on his throne. I didn't know that was gonna be in the actual movie.
Yeah,
I
but
think it
that
looked
goes
cool.
to show how comically evil he is.
Yeah. So yeah, I think he was definitely very cool. Um, definitely made an emphasis to be like, oh, this guy is a threat.
Yeah, exactly. That it makes sense why Godzilla and Kong got to team up.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Shimu, I also did like Shimu. I thought Shimu was a cool inclusion. Didn't do
Yeah.
as much as I thought she would do, but I also found it funny that I thought she'd be like a cool looking dragon thing, but then you watch the movie and she just has like the weakest little jawline you've ever seen on.
It's yeah, just a little lizard.
Yeah. Which I
No, yeah,
say it's
but
built up as like the ultimate alpha titan, but then you watch it, she's just like,
well, it's only the dang ice ray because anytime the ice ray is not being used, well, and in the final fight,
Hmm.
Godzilla's just fucking like wrecking her. Like
Exactly.
it's only the beam really. Um, but as we've gone about before we get into the real
Hmm.
meat of the monster stuff, what do you think about the human plot this time?
Better, I'd say on par with King of the Monsters. Maybe a little better because they like, I'd say the character. I think the smaller casts, because like most of these
Mm.
monster movies have like fucking 100 humans running around. I think the fact that it was mainly only four, like I think made it a bit more tolerable.
Yeah, I'm very glad they didn't try and do multiple subplots. It was
Yeah,
just the monster stuff
and the
and
main
the
guys.
human stuff.
I feel like that wasn't Rebecca Ferguson. Rebecca Hall, that one lady. She was okay at most. I didn't really buy her relationship with her adopted daughter. It
Yeah,
was
but that's the thing. It's I think at that point they know that nobody's here to see the human plot. Everyone
Yeah,
just
so they
wants to
might
see
as
the
well just
monsters
like
beat each other up. It's very bare
yeah,
bones.
it's serviceable, yes, but like it definitely wouldn't get me invested. I
Hmm.
did like Dan Stevens' character. I thought he was fun.
He was very fun in the movie.
Yeah,
I
and
think. Well, I was gonna say him and Brian Tyree Henry's dynamic. I think it was entertaining.
yeah, and I feel like I brought it to you in the theater when we were watching it, but like I feel like at a point it was borderline queer coding when you were
Oh
doing.
yeah, definitely. They were. I'd pay to see that.
Yeah,
Um, no, yeah, but it was. I think it's definitely the human plot is just kind of like just. It's more so just there so that it's not just the monsters going the
yeah.
whole time.
That's the biggest thing too. In this movie, especially, I realized that at a point these guys should basically just have subtitles because I hear a lot of people say like some of these movies feel like, especially Godzilla versus Kong. Some people say that these feel like just like MCU movies, and I didn't
They
really agree
are.
to that. But in this time, it really is just like, wow, they really did just make the Kaiju Avengers.
Yeah, basically.
Because you have Godzilla and Kong, who are like the Iron Man, Captain America. Mothra, who's in the movie, she comes
Yep.
back. Who was was introduced in the Godzilla 2, and though she's a girl, so she's the Black Widow of the group.
Yeah, exactly.
Shimo's the big giant monster, so she's the Hulk. Suko, the baby Kong, he's the Hawkeye because he's a useless piece of shit. Actually, going off that, I brought it to you before. Suko actually kind of is a bit
He,
more useful than I
yeah,
thought.
he was.
Because like for one, he brought the axe back to Kong at the end,
Yeah,
but also like in stuff like he like handled against like other like adult Kongs pretty well actually.
yeah. It's
Like in the anti gravity fight, like he was holding his own. Like
Baby Kong. He's a real one.
he could throw hands. So
No, and that's one thing. And we'll get into the monster plots now. I was actually very invested in Kong
Mhm.
and what would you say his name was?
Suko.
Suko's kind of little dynamic.
It was interesting. It was entertaining. It was
Yeah,
like
I said it was all the like mentor mentee father son relationships that Hollywood's try to shove down our throats. I like it better than like Doctor Strange and America
mm,
Chavez or like fucking I don't know most of them.
the Hawkeyes.
Yeah, it's like I was actually invested in Kong and Zuko. They were fun. It was fun watching them kind of
Yeah, and Suko's just going
do.
around like,
Yeah, it
I
was
want one. I want one in my house.
exactly. They fucking made they just made Kong Kratos and Zuko
Yeah.
Atreus, and it was funny
And if
to
that's not
see.
if that's not enough evidence, they fight Jormungandr. So
Yeah, basically, it's not technically.
I know,
It's
I
not
know.
technically, but they fight a giant snake in the water.
He also doesn't actually have a name. I tried looking it up. He apparently isn't named anything.
I
So
mean, just I feel like half the Hollow Earth monsters can just be Monster A, Monster B,
I
this
guess
one
so.
that Kong fights in this random scene.
Like the wolf, the little hounds.
I got a question.
What?
Okay, so a common habit that me and Seamus have is going into stores, laughing at the toys, and then leaving.
Yes.
Um, one of the toys is like the little lizard thing that eats Kong's food at the beginning. That
Doug.
like steals it. What the fuck does he have a toy? I thought I like going in. I was like, oh, maybe it's gonna be like a little like not plot, but like more to do. It was in one scene and he got a toy.
He was in Godzilla versus Kong, and the fans named him Doug. And it gets stuck with the. He's officially official like Titan now, basically,
Oh,
and that's a little thing. So I guess it's just more for like, and also because like
fan
Suko,
service.
yeah, I guess. But also, you couldn't sell like a Suko toy on his own because he's a little small, so they just threw Doug in with him.
Yeah, I guess. I wish there was more.
Yeah.
Also, on that note, there's in that scene, Kong kind of like goes like, because his tooth hurts,
Yeah.
his food got stolen. He was like, man, what a day. This is the most expressive that the Titans
Yeah,
have ever
exactly.
fucking been in these movies. They're like literally, they're like out basically outside of physically talking. It is like they're full on characters in this.
Basically, yeah. Godzilla laughs in a few scenes. It's like,
Yeah, exactly. The whole movie, Kong just like, ooh,
yeah.
oh.
When he sees the monster, like the ape society, he's just like,
Yeah, he. I mean, if you thought you were the last of your species and then saw a bunch of little Seamuses running around, you would probably go too.
probably, yeah.
No, yeah, but they're definitely full on characters
Mhm.
in this.
Yeah, which I definitely appreciate.
Yeah.
What else? What else? There's a lot more Titans than I thought there would be in this movie. Because, like, of course, we already covered the main ones, but, like, of course, Mothra comes back.
Yep.
Scylla from King of the Monsters, the spider one, she came back.
This is all Seamus stuff.
You don't remember King?
I fucking remembered what I don't even remember that in this movie.
The giant spider, like the crab. You remember that when Godzilla first shows up?
Oh, the crab?
Yeah.
You said spider. That was a crab, not a spider.
Spider crab.
It.
Well, do you remember the crab in King
I
of the
remember.
Monsters?
Not in King of the Monsters. No.
It was
the only other monster I remember from that is the one with the big tusks.
Behemoth.
Of course, you know the name of that.
It's a. Sorry for having an interest. All right.
No, yeah, you special interest. Don't worry.
Yeah. What else? Tiamat. If you remember, she was in that.
Yeah, fucking.
Which also, I never read the comics, but apparently, like, I see people on TikTok all the time, like, "Oh, Tiamat, you don't want to fuck with Tiamat," and it was like a big deal. But in the movie, she got her ass kicked. Like,
in the movie, it was
immediately.
just for Godzilla to get his cool new pink color palette, which did look cool.
I did like it.
Oh
yeah, what do you think in the next movie his color scheme is going to be? I think they're going to go for white, like white scales this time.
Oh yeah, because then it's like in the classic. It's in the classic.
Yeah.
No, yeah. What are they like planning to make more of them?
It's not.
I mean, I assumed, but
yeah, it's not confirmed. But the director said he wants to make at least one more,
yeah.
And I think that'll probably be like the send off because like at this point they're not going to make solo movies anymore for Kong or Godzilla. Like.
Yeah, probably not. Because then it's just like de-escalating. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like kind of you can't like kind of go back to like, oh, and now Godzilla fights. No, whatever. Seamus, insert a random Godzilla monster.
Titanosaurus.
If you ever are like see Seamus in the streets, as he normally is.
Yeah.
And you just want to know a random Godzilla fact, he can just fucking shoot one out at you. Real quick, give a Godzilla fact.
Despite the first movie coming out in 1954, it didn't reach American theaters until 1956.
Oh, see? You wouldn't have known that. He's a wealth of information. Maybe it would be better if you put that to something a little more useful, but...
Okay. We know our GPAs from the last semester. Don't talk about useful information.
I don't know what you're talking about. But overall, this movie is definitely the most entertaining in the MonsterVerse, and definitely the most entertaining movie I've seen in a long time.
Definitely. I would give it an 8 out of 10.
An 8 out of 10? I think yeah, we can agree on that one. An 8 out of 10 is definitely the score for it. If you're going into the movie to get a, really compelling story, very like thematic and like, whatever, like story heavy, go watch a different movie. Go watch Dune 2.
Go watch Ghostbusters, the Frozen Empire.
Fun fact, we are never talking about that movie on this show.
Yeah.
I've never seen it. I haven't seen it yet, but don't plan to.
Yeah, exactly.
But it is entertaining, good, dumb, fun monster action. And overall it'll be a good time. Definitely turn your brain off.
Yeah. I really hate that term, but for this one,
Yeah. But 8 out of 10, we recommend you go see the movie. And now, Seamus, I'm thinking it's about time we put our differences aside and face off against a bigger threat.
Sounds good to me.
All right. And with that, on let us know. We're working through making this podcast the best experience that you can. A little bit shorter, a runtime, 45 minutes. Let us know your thoughts. But with that, and with one last howdy do, one last hoorah of Godzilla and Kong.
Yep.
All right. We'd like to thank you for watching this episode of the world's finest podcast. Shut that off.
So we should have done a ranking.
Yeah. You want to get food after this?
Okay.
Yeah, I'm down.